Welcome to Concert Pipeline. I'm Steve Jones. Today on the program we have Zach Paradis. He has a new single out called Hurricane. We're going to talk about that. Maybe he'll play it for us in the program. We're going to find out in just a little bit. But he has a great voice. Dove deep on his music and into it, and look forward to chatting with him about it in just a few minutes. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in my world. This week, we moved into April. It's spring, and the weather's getting very nice. I can sit outside on the back porch and read my book. Currently reading a biography about Chris Farley, written by his brother, Tom Farley, and it has interviews with so many people who are close to him, and it's just this great look behind the curtain of a comedic genius who was so troubled at the same time and had all these demons and ailments and stuff that got in his way. Obviously, we know about his tragic demise, and where he left us way too early. But it's a really interesting read so far. But along with moving into April, we also had April Fools. I will preface this story by sharing that I have shared with some close to me to remind me on March 31st of next year not to pull any April Fool's pranks on my children. I will share the pranks that I pulled on them. First, starting with my son. Before he came home from school on April 1st, I doused myself in ketchup on my face, on my shirt, down my arm, and I could on the countertop and down, dripping down the countertop, and laid there in the kitchen area, ready for his entrance. He entered the home, turned on the TV, and went into the bathroom. I'm like, oh shoot, he's going to watch the TV. We won't even see me. I gotta go get the remotes. I grabbed the remotes, threw them on the other couch, out of the way, so he'd have to see me. And then after he got out of the bathroom, he gets out of the bathroom. I'm still in the kitchen, laying down with ketchup all over me, and he walks by and says, "Huh, Dad's dead. I guess I'll just go about my business." Those were his words exactly, and, and I couldn't help but silently laugh to myself while still trying to pull off the prank. And he walked over to the couch after grabbing his Switch and proceeded to play his video game. So I sat there for 5 minutes, covered in ketchup blood, and until I realized, okay, he's not coming back. He's not going to inspect the scene closer. He's just going to go into his own world and do his own thing. And so I go over, still covered in blood. I was like, "You don't even care that your dad's dead?" And he said, "Well, maybe if it was mom, I would." And can't beat that response. It's pretty great. So that one blew up in my face, and I'm like, okay, well, I still have to get my daughter pranked, and I was only going to see her for a few minutes while I was picking her up and taking her to an appointment and handing her off to her mom's. So I had to do this one through text. And last weekend, she went to look at a house in town with her family, her mom, her stepdad, her brothers, and this house is very nice, from what I've seen online. It has a pool and a barn, a 2.5 acre property, really great. And the barn will get her, really interested in kind of one day getting a horse for that barn, because she started getting into horseback riding. And so I hadn't heard much about what went down with this house, but they generally liked it. Okay, and so I texted my daughter while she was in school, and I said, "Hey, your mom and stepdad got the house. They put in an offer, and it was accepted." And she said, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the house on the street, the super house that you saw this weekend. They put in an offer, and it was accepted." And she's like, "Wow, that's awesome, great," sort of thing. Super excited. What I didn't know on the back end, it was really what would blow up in my face, in that she shared this news with a friend in class, and was texting with her mom, and apparently and I said, "By the way, April Fools," and then she left class, went to the bathroom, and was crying because she really wanted the house. And so I guess I told her mom, "I don't need anything for my birthday. I just want the house," which I think she's trying to be selfless in that statement, but it really, to me, comes off as, well, that's That is still pretty greedy. It's a very nice house. All I need for my birthday is a new home, please and thank you. Uh, and and so I don't know. I stand behind the Franks, but neither of them worked out in the way that they were intended. So that was a lot of fun. All right. Anyway, let's get this kicked off and get into the program. Again, I have Zach Paradise. We're going to bring him on in now. Let's have a chat with Zach. Zach
Hey,
Paradise, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Steve?
Hey, not bad, not bad. Is
Yeah.
your day treating you well so far?
So far, so good. Yeah. I mean, we're just we have a day off here on this concert on this tour run that we've been going on. So we've been nonstop for the past 3 days. We got a day off today, so soaking it in for sure.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
How have the shows been starting out?
They've been good, man. I mean, I feel like everyone is a learning experience, but no, it's been great. I mean, like it's wild. I feel like we just are very lucky to be doing this. I'm in support of Abe Parker, and his
Yeah.
fans are just very, very kind, very supportive, very fun people. So we've been rocking out and having a good time in Dallas, Denver, and then Salt Lake City so far. So
And
yeah,
you've known Abe for a while. You've
I
played with
have
him. You've played with him in the past, like 2019.
2019. I think that's right. Yeah, 2019. It would have been, had to have been 2019. Yeah, right before everything closed for COVID. Um, Yeah, we did a festival out in Ohio, but I've known him since I think the beginning of 2016. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
So, yeah. So tell me about getting to know Abe and kind of what that dynamic is like playing with him.
yeah,
And
yeah. I was introduced to Abe through a mutual friend. Um, his name is Logan Russell. He used to be a coworker of mine, but he just brought me over to his house. Abe was there, and they were just playing me demos of stuff that Abe was working on. This was back in probably like 2016, like I said. Then we just always kept in contact. We wrote some songs together, and we actually did a lot of production for other artists together. So we would both kind of tag team writing and making beats over the past several years. So yeah, just became friends, stayed in contact, all that kind of stuff. And then I moved to LA a few years ago. So we've been in different cities for the past about 3 years now. But he hit me up about opening for him. And yeah, it was a very easy decision. I was immediately on board. So yeah.
you playing any songs together too? Because I know you did that when you were in Ohio.
Yeah. No, this one I am drumming during his set, so I'm playing all of his songs
Yeah.
pretty much with him. But no, I my set opening beforehand is just me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And and this tour, is it your biggest tour yet?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did a small one with another artist friend, a good friend. His name's Kevin Chung.
Mhm.
Um, I did a tour with him. It was 4 dates in October of 2024. Um, but this is 16 over the course of 5 weeks. So we're about a week in. We got another week and a half or so on this leg. Then we got a week off, and then we're playing the East Coast after that. So this is definitely the biggest and most people that I've been playing to consistently night after night. So very cool, very fun opportunity to just like, you know, live the dream, get on the road and
Yeah.
play music for people.
What more do you want, right?
Yeah, hey, I can't ask for more.
And you're coming up to San Francisco. I think you're playing Bottom of the Hill. Is that right?
Bottom of the hill. Yep. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what day that is. I want to say the 11th, April
Sure.
11th. Yeah.
I should have written it down, but I don't know. I'll go with it.
No,
So,
you're good. I actually have it. I'm trying to keep track. So
it's-
I saved the tour
oh,
flyer.
look at that.
I
Yeah.
saved the tour flyer to my phone so I can just check like which date is it, because
It's
I've been checking it over and over. It
yeah,
is the
yeah.
11th,
It's I know
April
it's a
11th.
Friday because I have kids and I can't make it. So I'm like
That's
uh
hilarious.
I split custody, but so I kind
Gotcha.
of gauge what shows I can go to usually. Try not
Yeah.
to around when I don't have kids and
Yeah.
try
I
not to
didn't
screw
realize
up.
you were based in San Francisco though. That's great.
I'm outside. I'm like an hour out of San Francisco, so
Okay.
closer to Sacramento, but I get to
Very cool.
shows, in
Yeah.
San Francisco when I can too. So,
Love it. Yeah, okay, but you were saying you're gonna have your kids. That's great. That's
yeah,
probably worthwhile. That's probably you're doing the right thing.
it's good. And I'm still, making memories. I'm taking my son to down to LA in a week and a half to see AC/DC uh,
No way.
at the Rose Bowl, and we have pit tickets.
Oh my gosh. That's gonna be great. That's a great memory.
It's looking forward to that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
yeah.
fun. So,
That's so sick.
Yeah. Have you played shows in the Bay Area before?
This is my very first show in the Bay Area. Yeah, like completely first show. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
There's a lot of firsts for me on this tour, a lot of first cities. This has been first show in Denver, first show in Salt Lake City, um, first show in Detroit, gonna be the first show in North Carolina. Um, just yeah, tons of. That's why I'm so excited about everything. I feel like I'm getting to travel all over America and play shows in all these different cities. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go back to early on. I'm always interested to hear your story of how you got into music, what you were listening to as a kid, what if your parents were influential. Where
Mm-hmm.
did your parents have any influence on you musically at all?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my upbringing was definitely like covered in music. We had music playing like kind of constantly. I'm also like, well, my parents, yeah, big influences for sure. Grew up in a Christian household, so there's a ton of like Christian music playing all the time. And my dad is also a really big, just like fan of all kinds of different music. Well, that might be giving him too much credit. He's kind of particular with what he likes, but he does have good taste. He likes a lot of like very musician heavy genres. Like he likes like a lot of funk stuff and like some big band stuff. And
Hmm.
then he loves Steely Dan. So we like listen to a lot of Steely Dan. He loves the Eagles. There's this other band called Santa Fe. He loves Chicago, all those different places. He's definitely like I also like during high school and stuff, I worked with him. He's a carpenter and he would always play music in like his workshop and stuff. So definitely a lot of musical influences from him. And then I come from a big family. I have eight older siblings. I'm the youngest of nine
No,
kids.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're the youngest, right?
I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. So
Yeah. How was that?
oh, it was, I mean, I don't know the alternative. So
You didn't get the other perspective, so
no, I
yeah.
didn't get the other perspective, but I liked it. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was, or doing it. I mean, growing up in that environment, I just liked that there's always something to do and there's always people around. With that many people living in the house, I mean, by the time I was born, some of my older siblings were like, my oldest sister was already moved out and in college.
Uh-huh.
And then like my other siblings were not far behind, but grew up with just so many different people around, got to hang out with all their friends. They were kind enough to not like kick me out when their friends came over. I could actually like hang out most of the time, most of the time.
Yeah.
But then also got exposed to all their musical
I was
influences
gonna
for
say,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
like especially my older sisters had a lot of influence on what I was listening to. I feel like especially in regards to singer-songwriter music and like pop music, they were always listening to stuff. And that was in the era of the mix CDs where their friends were all
Yes.
making themselves. They would burn a separate CD and give it out like happy birthday, here's your new mix CD. Um, and yeah, that was all over the place. It would be like I'm trying to think like the Bow Sisters and random artists like Andy Davis and Ben Howard and who else? There's so many different people. Oh, my sisters really loved Michael Bublé.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of Michael Bublé growing up. Um, really all over the place. It was just, when you have that many people in a house, there's a lot of different influences, a lot of
Yeah.
different songs that you're hearing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
Who took you to your first concert?
Ooh, I think that would have been it was my older sisters, Katie and Laura. I think they took me to the first, at least the first one that I can remember. They had bought tickets to this festival in Ohio, and I think two of their friends had dropped out or something, and everybody else was in school or something like that. So they went and they're like, "Well, Zach, do you want to come?" And so I went, and yeah, that was funny. That's the first one that I can remember. But that was a Christian concert called Alive in Ohio. Um, there was people like I'm trying to think of Reliant K played that year. It was like Toby Mac, Newsboys, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think I was 8 at that point, which
Pretty
was
young. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, which was awesome though. I loved it. Like
Yeah.
everybody, it was a tent festival too. So we
Right.
we slept in tents,
Oh,
woke up
really?
real early, got up, and like the whole day you're just sitting on the lawn, just listening to music, going to the different stages, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, great times, great memories.
That's cool. At what point did you know, yeah, okay, I want to play music? You went when it were the first instrument you picked up?
Yeah, I mean, my mom had all of us kids take piano lessons when we were kids. So, when I was like 8 years old, I remember taking piano lessons actually from my older sister, who's really great at piano. Her name is Tam. Um, and I did it for like a year. That's the funny thing about growing up in a big family like that. I'm taking like lessons from my other siblings and stuff. It's like
Save on
a
an instructor, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, like it's
exactly. It's a whole built-in
yeah.
ecosystem, a whole little network. But I remember like getting really frustrated because I like wasn't good at it and I stopped after like a year. And I
Mm,
kind of wish I had kept going, but it was probably good because that let me like I started taking drum lessons when I was 13 because I actually wanted to at that point. Like
yeah.
nobody told me to. My dad just had a drum set in our basement. And I remember I started playing rock band with friends and I really liked the drums.
Yeah.
And the crossover to a real drum set is like pretty 1 to 1. It's not exact, but like it's way better than like the guitars with like the buttons and stuff. Um, but yeah, basically like that like kind of started the desire to play music and play drums specifically. And then
You played drums in a high school band.
yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and my two buddies, Zach and Joey, back in Ohio, we had a band in high school, and we played a few like very small shows, mostly of Ed Sheeran covers. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but that was great. That was when I started to think like I think I really want to do this genuinely for real. Um, and yeah, so I just kind of made the jump. There's a Jim Carrey quote where he talks about how he watched his dad really wanted to be an actor, but he
Mhm.
chose the safe route instead, and then he got let go from his job. And he's like, I realized then that you can fail at something you don't want to do. And
Yeah.
that really stuck with me because I was like, I could take kind of a more traditional job, or I was already working with my dad in carpentry at that time. I was like, I could keep doing that, or I could try for this thing that I like think I really actually want to do. And then if it doesn't work out, I can still just do carpentry. So
And it's interesting you
um,
mentioned Jim Carrey because I was just watching Mace Ventura right before.
no way, that's
I was
hilarious.
like, I need
Oh
to, I don't know. I have nostalgia for all that old '90s comedy. I'm reading
yeah,
A book, a biography of Chris Farley right now, like written by his brother. I don't know.
that's amazing. No, that
it's
was a
a,
golden era.
yeah, yeah. They don't make comedy like that anymore.
They
So
definitely don't.
yeah.
That's
But
amazing.
I interrupted. Carry on.
Oh no, you're good. Well, basically, I think it was, I graduated a little early, so I was 17, um, going into college, and there was just a community college nearby, in Cleveland, where I grew up, Cleveland, Ohio. And they had an audio engineering degree, 2-year associate's degree. And I was like, let me just try this. And that was kind of the start of like doing it, for real, because I learned like, how to record, um, a little bit of production, but it was definitely an audio engineering focus.
Mhm.
And I just started recording myself, recording my friends. I was still in that band at that time, and so I would record our stuff. And yeah, it just grew. I got an internship based out of that program with a studio down in Atlanta, Georgia, and then that kind of like was the starting point of me actually doing this full time, um, working in music. So yeah, it
Yeah.
just kind of it's funny how it just kind of grew. Like it was just like a decision, like, hey, let me try out this program at this community college, and then it turned into the internship, turned into a job, and here we are years later. So
What
very
would you
grateful.
say some of your biggest takeaways were from your time at Reach Records in terms of what it takes to be an artist and make your own music?
Mm, man, I mean, I think it's kind of cliche, but the consistency of seeing these artists come in every day and work on their albums, whatever, just like day in, day out, and being uh, flexible with the process too, because I think an album typically takes on like 4 or 5 different identities before it's finalized, and
Yeah.
being like okay with that process instead of being like, well, I started here and I wanted to go here, so that is just all that is okay. Versus being willing to allow, like, you got to allow the process to be a little messy. Like, okay, we're going to try start here, but we're going to, try these different sounds. We're going to try writing with these people. We're going to throw that song out that we really liked last time. We're going to write some new ones, and just seeing them make their albums and being intimately involved. I was in a very integral part being the engineer, but like I didn't have as much of the creative say so, which was I think kind of good because it allowed me to just observe what the people who were much more experienced, much more seasoned, the A&Rs there, like Ace Harris, Natalie Lauren at the time that I was working there, like just getting to see them work. And I was very in the mix, but I wasn't making the decisions. So I just got to kind of absorb the process of making all this music. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is just to show up consistently. Like
Yeah.
Monday, you make a song you love, that's great. Tuesday, you might make a song that you don't like, but you're still going to show up on Wednesday and make another song and just, just see what happens, keep going. But I just saw that the people who were having the most success at that label were the people who consistently showed up and were willing to work hard every day and just like, trust the process, allow it to change as it goes. But I mean, I could talk a lot, I think, about that experience. That was my first like serious, it was my first job out of college actually. Um, and I grew a lot through that. Just there's nothing like being able to see like music, like whatever field you're in, just being able to essentially like apprentice there and see what's happening and get your hands on it. Like that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Tell me kind of about the difference for you in terms of like collaborating with other people making music versus making music yourself. Like
Mm,
how's that process? Do you find that the content that you write about is different, that sort of thing?
totally. Yeah, when I'm writing by myself, I can definitely get a little more vulnerable, I think, than when I'm writing with other people. I think like subject wise, but I find that a lot of times, like musically, I 100% of the time benefit from adding other people in the mix. And I've been working on a batch of new songs, and I kind of made it a mental rule for myself, that I want to have somebody else involved, either another writer or another producer or something involved in all these songs, because it makes this little idea that you had in your head bigger than yourself when you involve other people. Um, and like I'm pretty okay with being real vulnerable with people. So like if I'm writing with somebody, it's just like, hey, like if you and I were writing a song, it's just like, hey, Steve, like I know we don't know each other that well, but this is what I've been going through. This is what I feel like writing about. And everybody that I write with, like I think it's just true across the board that songwriters are very okay with that. It's usually a
Yeah.
very safe space, non-judgmental, because at the end of the day, we're all just like, yeah, I feel that, but also like, all right, how do we transition this into like take this raw story and make it like art? So
Yeah.
I definitely get different flavors though when I write with different people. And it's kind of cool now having written with a bunch of different people. You kind of know what different collaborators bring to the table, and you can be more selective and kind of like, project manage your own music and be like, all right, I need just like a pop banger. All right, well, I'm gonna go to my friend Hannah Avison and we're just gonna write something really catchy and fun and upbeat. And it's like, all right, I want something like experimental and indie, or like, I don't know, I need a producer who can just kind of like play with stuff. All right, I'm gonna hit up my friend David Dye, see what he can do. Like, all this, it's cool to have those different like colors that you can use to paint.
Sure.
So, but when I really need to just like be really vulnerable, like I usually do that by myself. Like, I have a song called "Pain You Bring." It's an old one where it feels like just kind of like I don't know, just like a brain dump onto the song. And that one I definitely wrote by myself. And then I even showed it to people and they had some critiques. And I was like, sorry,
It's
buddy.
so personal. You can't
Yeah, yeah.
critique
It's like,
it.
sorry. Yeah. I'm like, I hear what you're saying and I'm gonna keep it the exact same. I'm so sorry. Um,
That's a good thing about feedback in general. Is like, what, you hear it coming in and then be like, no, this is how it needs to be. If
yeah.
there's room to adjust and
Because
great, but
yeah,
yeah,
there's some feedback that when you hear it, you're like, oh, that's so true. And there's
yeah,
other ones where it's like, oh, I understand how you got there, but I don't feel that way.
yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's your music, so you get the final say. So
Yeah, yeah. It's my name going on it. I'm the one who's got to live with it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, so let's talk about. I'm interested in your EP. We're all just growing up that you did with
Mm-hmm.
Igomi. Is that how you pronounce
Yeah, Igami. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Igami? Yeah, and I mean, I liked a lot of the music on that EP, and you were in a space there where you and Igami were just kind of transitioning into your 20s and kind of figuring things out. You have songs like Young and Jaded, and the video for
Mm-hmm.
that, by the way, is pretty interesting, like your zombie
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
probably the most I've had to like act in a video. That was weird. It was also freezing that day that we
Yeah.
recorded. Oh, it was so cold. Anyway, yeah, but that's funny. That's funny that you checked that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about that time making that EP.
Oh man. So I've known Matt since 2016 as well. That's his name, Matt Wright, Igami. Um, and basically he was living in Texas at the time. I was living in Georgia, and we would just like catch up and have these conversations. And we realized that we were like dealing with all the very same like life questions essentially. And we've made music together. We made a lot of like hip hop beats actually together that we would shop to other artists back when I was still working at Reach Records. And we had done like just written songs for fun, all that kind of stuff. Um, he actually, funny enough, he did the guitar part for Pain You Bring, the song that I just mentioned. But he had a trip to Atlanta where he stayed with me and my roommates for about a week, and we just made a bunch of music because we were just realizing we were at this stage where it felt like life was becoming just very real for us and very specific to us as far as it's like, oh, we actually have to figure this out like for ourselves now. Like nobody's really holding our hands through all this. There's a certain freedom that comes with that, but also like there's a lot of confusion. I think, at least for me, stepping into like my early 20s, like 20 through like 24 was a great time in my life, but also very like rocky, very up and down, like figuring out a lot of what I thought about faith, what I thought about my place in the world, I guess. Like, what was I supposed to be bringing to the table? Um, how do I deal with the fact that like working all the time sucks at
Yeah.
points, and like it's hard to survive. It's hard to like, you gotta always be making money to pay bills, and feels like my life has just become like a series of we have a line that's like we're all just growing up bills and coffee cups. Like this ain't what we thought that it was gonna be, like it's like what happened here? Like this wasn't what we were expecting. So it's coming to terms with growing up. That's why it's called We're All Just Growing Up. And it was very cathartic um for both Matt and I to make that, because it was one just reassuring to talk to each other and be like, oh, you're feeling this too. Okay, maybe I'm not crazy. Um, but even like I had a few friends text me specifically about the song "We're All Just Growing Up," the title track, and they're just like, "Man, I feel this. Like, it feels like I don't know what I was expecting life to be like, but I feel like
Yeah.
this is not it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Like
like,
adulthood came and hit you with a 2x4, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I have to figure it
yeah,
out, right? Yeah.
yeah. Because it's like one day it's like, oh, you're so young, you have your whole life ahead of you. Like you'll, just take your time, and then at some
Mhm.
point it's like it's like, hey, you should probably have some things worked out by now. Like, hey, what are you doing? It's like I'm still just a kid. What am I doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the whole EP. Like 19 is talking about how we both moved out at 19 and just kind of started our professional careers. Um, yeah, Young and Jaded is just like I feel like I'm too young to be this cynical about life, but here we are. Heartbreak is self-explanatory, just talking about like the heartbreak that comes with growing up, and then we're all just growing up is kind of summing everything up. Just like, hey, I guess we're all just figuring this out as we go. I think that's all the tracks. I don't think I left any.
Wasteland, did you say Wasteland? Yeah.
Wasteland,
Yeah.
Wasteland.
There you
That's
go.
that's talking about like that's like more
Like
the
the dream of
professional
rising to
stuff.
the top, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and even like for people who aren't artists, it's just that idea of like, I feel like I gotta put my stake in the ground here somewhere. Like I gotta like show like how like this is what I'm doing with my life. Like this is what I'm proficient at. Like I'm not just like, yeah, like I feel like I've been spending 10,000 hours in a wasteland just trying to like get better at this thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
when's the payoff's gonna come, Which
No, and I feel that, and I mean that time is like, I could relate to kind of a lot of what you're going through with that, because I know you were like sent out to like to put your name out there to go anywhere in the country, and only got like that one response back from Reach
yeah.
Records, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and kind of I had the same sort of thing. I went
Yeah.
to college for TV production, and I was like one of the ones that are like, you're going to be fine and everything like that, and was willing to move anywhere to get a job, and like
Sure.
like in news or something, something to get
Yeah.
my feet wet. And we rarely ever even hear back, and
Yeah.
like yeah, and it's is the hardest thing,
Yeah,
that
to
that
stay
rejection.
motivated.
Yeah, and then you do it for so long, and you're like, okay, well, this is, how long am I
Oh,
going to try and beat down this door? That's not,
yeah, it's
not
like
receiving
eventually
me.
this is gonna pay off, right? I'm gonna get a job at some
Mhm.
like, TV station or something somewhere, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's not guaranteed. It's a struggle for sure.
yeah, yeah. And putting that out during like 2 weeks before COVID hit, like what was that
Yeah.
like for you? I'm sure that was pretty.
Well, yeah, that was definitely unexpected. That was not part of the plan. I
No, I
was
imagine.
actually, yeah, because I was still living in Georgia at that point, and by the time we were putting it out, Matt had just moved to LA.
Mm,
Um, so I was in LA February before the shutdown. I think when I got back 2 weeks later, we shut down for COVID. Um, and we had already like that was the most organized like rollout I've ever had personally. Shout out to Igami. He had everything like he's like, all right, we're gonna post this day, we're gonna do this, yada yada yada. But we had already had everything like literally scheduled and just like on a it was just gonna happen.
uh-huh.
And then it was just funny because it was like, hey, so I don't know if anybody cares about this because the world is literally like, I don't know, we're all like scared for our lives right now, but
Yeah.
new song out Friday.
No, exactly. You're like, did anybody hear that? Echo, echo.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
It's like everybody's just like, there's a new strain. We gotta be everybody mask up. And I'm like, 10,000 miles in a wasteland. It's like, hey, I don't know. But at the same time, it was like, we were also trying to, nobody knew at all what was happening. I remember at one point we were like trying to go into hyperdrive mode. Like, all right, let's put all this out. Let's get it out because we're like, everybody's home. Everybody's gonna be listening to music like crazy. And it's like, I don't think that really was what it panned out to be. Like not everybody was like, oh, thank God I'm inside so I can listen to new music from, these up and coming artists. But
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
it worked out. I don't know. Here we are on the
yeah,
other side of it. But yeah, that was
yeah,
funny. It was literally, I think the first single that we put out came out in March.
yeah.
Um, I want to say right before the pandemic. And
Yeah.
then it just all rolled out. Who knows?
Yeah.
What a weird time, man. What a
I
weird time.
know, I know. It was interesting, and the one silver lining that for me anyway that came from it is being able to like Zoom because Zoom didn't really exist or wasn't
Mm-mm.
prevalent before then. So,
Mm-hmm.
I used to interview bands more in person. Go to the concerts, interview them, and squeeze it in between sound check and they're eating, and while
Yeah.
there's another band's playing in the background for like 20 minutes. And now, Zoom's here, and it's much easier to do. I
Yeah.
just and
Yeah.
talk to people all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's
No, I love
uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that worked out.
There's
But
that's a positive flip on the pandemic. I appreciate that perspective because I said the same thing. I was like, it's kind of nice to realize how many things we don't have to do in person now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That piece is better, But
Yeah.
it was an experience that we all shared in one way or another.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Wild times.
Yeah. And so you had another EP. Now I know that came
Hmm.
after that. Were you like recording that during COVID and everything, and you're just
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was and that was more of a solo venture. I did more of that because we're all just growing up was completely collaborative. Like I probably worked on less of the production than Igami did. He took the brunt of that work, which was really fun for me because I kind of just got to write. But for this one, for now I know it was more of it was much more self, just me just kind of doing my own thing. Because yeah, songs like Don't Wanna Want You, um, Waiting Here for You, Now I Know, I think all those were completely just me by myself. And then even Lost My Baby, like I did all that production but I wrote the hook and Big Breeze, the rapper who's featured on that, he came over and we just kind of like did that mostly in one session. Um, and then there's one more that I'm leaving out here. What is it? Or is that all of them? Don't want you. No, no. Anyway,
I
I'll
got
find
that
some
one.
of
So,
them. That's funny.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was I think that was trying to focus more on doing stuff in social media as well, like kind of put more of the process on social media, promote it more heavily on social media. That was the start of
Mhm.
that whole like, because 2020, like TikTok was a thing before 2020, but
Yeah.
2020 is when TikTok really became the
Oh yeah.
thing. And I remember like every focus, like everybody was just like, hey, TikTok this, TikTok that. You got to do, you know. It was the first foray into me trying to like figure that out.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the TikTok thing worked out okay, right? Because Crash Adams like discovered your video. Tell
yeah,
tell me about how that happened, what that experience was like.
man, yeah, that was crazy. So I was, yeah, they had found me just on TikTok doing random open verse challenges. Like I had one that got some good traction. One Republic had put out an open verse challenge for their song West Coast. And it was just a good like kind of serendipitous moment, I guess, where I was about to move to the West Coast. I was already doing all these open verses, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is like perfect. So I just wrote about like me moving to the West Coast. It got some traction on TikTok, and then Crash Adams found me through that, which I didn't realize until recently. I didn't realize that's how they found me because they just sent me a DM on Instagram one day, and it was like it felt very like scam-y,
Yeah,
because they had like 2 million followers at that point, and they're like, hey, do you want to just do a video with us? It's kind of like this one. And they sent a link to the video that they had previously done with an artist named Jo, who's based in LA, and I had known him through my friend Jalen Sean. And I was like, oh no way, like I actually know Jo too. That's crazy. um and it was like very minimal communication. I almost didn't respond because I was like, this feels like it's not legit. um
yeah,
but no, they reached out on a Wednesday. I responded to them. They're like, okay, let's plan for Saturday. And then sure enough, we filmed it Saturday. And then I think they put it out that following Monday. So it was like from start to finish, the whole thing was less than a week. And yeah, just crazy. I mean, that was such a fun experience. They're such kind, genuine dudes. Um, and they're crushing it with their music and with their content. And they were just so efficient too. I showed up, we did it real quick. They're like, cool, moved on next one.
yeah,
And then they were telling me, they're like, hey, so we've been getting like some really good traction on this. You'll probably go up like, like several thousand followers. um and at the height of it, it was I went up from 5,000 followers on Instagram to 120,000, which is just crazy. Like it was just, shout out
yeah.
to them and their platform. Like just the access that they had with that was insane.
So that must have been surreal, right? Like, I mean, like
Oh
for
my
you,
gosh,
like
yeah.
just like, yeah, to have this whole new audience now. And did you feel like this pressure to have to continue to create and like content
Man,
as the,
what?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Because content is like the name of the game, obviously. It's like how anybody is doing anything these days in music. And so I remember when I had that, I wasn't posting like consistently at all before then. And I've kind of tapered off. I need to get back on it. But I was posting every day after that video came out, because I was just like, I got all these new eyes on me. I gotta like, take advantage of the situation.
Mhm.
And like I have artist friends, and they're like hitting me up, and they're like, "Hey man, like this is like it. This is it. You gotta take this momentum. You
Now's
gotta
your moment.
capitalize on it." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which was very. I had one moment where I was just like in my room, just like kind of shut down. I was like, I don't know what to do. This is too like big. This moment is too big. Um, and then like I was just like, "All right, I gotta snap out of this. This is just make the next video and just like try to keep the attention going, all that kind of stuff." And like, yeah, I mean, shout out to them. Really grateful for that opportunity. It's it's been wild. So man, yeah, the attention that that brought was really really like career changing, and also like the biggest boost to also like my mentality of like, oh, like I can do this for real. Like when people got a glimpse of what I was doing, like they actually enjoyed it. Okay, I
Yeah.
keep going. I'll keep trying to make this happen. And so it was definitely a huge boost. I've been able to do a few different things with them since. Again, they're like such kind Canadian dudes, just very nice guys. And they're really like putting a ton of artists on with their platform, which I think is so like honorable and great of them to do. They've taken like the success that they've gotten, because they told me they were discovered on a talent show themselves, and so they just kind of have this heart to like pay it forward in that sense.
Yeah.
So they're they definitely are. So um, yeah, crazy, crazy, all from a DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
Very wild. Yeah.
And tell me about doing the open verse challenges in general. I saw you did one on a love
Mm-hmm.
song, and
Mm-hmm.
so you've done a
Yeah.
handful of those. Like, how do
Handful.
you?
Yeah. There's a Yeah, there's a Law of one that did well. There's a Charlie Puth one that did well. The One Republic one did the best, and then I did a few others that didn't do anything,
Yeah.
just as it goes. Um, but for me, that's actually a style of content that I really like. I feel like there haven't been as many popular like open verse challenges in a while on social media, and I kind of want to bring them back because like for me, it's like, oh, all I got to do is like write, which I love to do, and then I'll just perform it. We'll see if people like it. Like that was great. So I just had a lot of fun doing that. And also, I've realized that we as consumers like to hear different takes on songs that we already know, you know? So it's kind of cool to be able to be like, okay, Zach did this open verse and it sounded this way. But, if Steve wanted to do this open verse, it would sound totally different based on his influences and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's just a very enjoyable kind of form of content as a consumer. So yeah, I kind of want the open verses to come back, man. We need somebody else to do another trending one. We had so
Yeah.
many back in like 2021. It's crazy.
Well, there wasn't a lot to do then. We were kind of locked in and
Yeah, everybody was at home like, oh, let's see who else can
hoarding
cover
toilet
this
paper
part.
and yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The toilet paper was so like, how did we get here? And man, RIP the price of eggs. I feel like before COVID we had reasonable egg prices. Not
No,
anymore. They're
nope.
never going back. I don't think
Can't
that's
get
ever
back
gonna
there.
come back.
Got to get your own chickens.
Honestly, a
Yeah.
lot of my friends in Atlanta have gone that route, and I'm like, that sounds kind of nice. I don't think I could do that
Yeah.
in my apartment in LA though. I don't think that would go
Might
very
not be
well.
this one. Right.
I don't think
Have to
so.
suck it up and pay the egg price, I think. So
Oh my gosh, so
yeah.
crazy, so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, tell me about finding your voice in general, because you have different styles of music that you dabble into. I mean, you do a little bit of rap as well. Like, how
Hmm.
did that come about? Tell me about your path there.
Yeah, a lot of it feels very like philosophical or almost like therapeutic because it feels like, I don't know, maybe it's dramatic, but it feels like, okay, when you think about what kind of music you're going to make, it really is a question of like, who are you? You know?
Hmm.
And so much of that for me has been based on like my influences and, my upbringing, and what kind of music I was around, and what music I'm currently into and what I want to say in my music. Because I'm always a very lyric heavy, like lyrics are usually first priority for me. Um, and then like certain genres like hip hop and singer-songwriter music have always just held a place in my heart as far as like my like favorite kind of genres, even over a lot of different uh like phases of life and different transitions and stuff. Those two have remained up there for me. So they always influence stuff that I'm doing, but then also like as I've been getting a little bit more into like playing guitar better myself, I've noticed that I've been leaning into more, guitar heavy genres, that kind of stuff. Been really into Dominic Fike lately. Um, but for me, as far as like finding my voice and stuff, as far as finding my voice, it feels just like coming to terms and accepting what is already true about yourself, like being from a certain part of the world, being raised in the family that you're raised in, listening to the kinds of music that you did growing up. Those all form these different building blocks for your personality. And then it feels like what you then build on top of that with like your intentional choices becomes your sound. Like, hey, something deep within me just like can't get enough of acoustic guitar. Like you start playing, it could be the most basic chord progression, but I'm just like, oh, I feel that like deep within me. And that's that like Ohio singer-songwriter, you know, core. But then it's also I have this, deep love for hip hop. So anytime somebody's saying something clever, and with like a catchy, rhyme scheme, good flow, all that kind of stuff like that really, really resonates with me. It's also just a lot of fun to like perform that stuff live. So it's really just being like, okay, these are the things that I really love. Let me try and combine them in a way that like probably only I would think of, just because I'm the only one with this unique recipe of influences. Um, and the other thing is just being honest with where you're at. Like the whole "We're All Just Growing Up" EP, like both Matt and myself, we were just feeling those things that we wrote about so deeply,
Yeah.
trying to like find our way in the world, all that kind of stuff. And so some of my songs about trying to figure out relationships, um, figure out life, or just like savor life and like really feel life while it's still here and before it moves on to the next phase. Um, it's just being honest about like, hey, my sound right now is going to reflect what I'm wrestling with. Like I actually just a few weeks ago Wrote a song that was kind of like just an ode to Ohio because I was just like feeling that. I got in the session, the producer's like, we should write something about where you're from. And I was just like, oh man, yes, we totally should. So whatever is resonating with me, and then whatever I just bring to the table, um, with like my just specific background, I feel like becomes my sound, and then allowing myself to experiment because it's Pharrell has a quote where he's like, hey, make whatever you're into now because you probably won't be into it later, so just get it out of your system kind of vibe. I'm butchering the quote, but that's essentially it. But it's like just allow yourself to do what you're into, so
Yeah.
and just have fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully
Do
that
you?
answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Do you see yourself down the road some point, like pulling together a full band?
I would love
Yeah.
to. I would love to. Yeah, I'm actually like debating. I'm working on an album right now, which I'm very excited about, and I would love to even do like a live full band version of the album just for like YouTube or something. Like I feel like it would be so
Mhm.
much fun. Um, so much of band, it's hard to be a musician when everything costs so much, which I
Oh,
think
I
that has
know.
always been the case,
Yeah,
but it's like this tour that I'm on right now, there's only two of us, and it's like I'm opening, and then I'm also drumming, and I'm kind of like tour managing a little bit and doing all
yeah,
this different stuff. And that's the only way we're able to make this tour happen, if we're being
and
completely honest.
yeah, and of course, and you're like, okay, splitting the money. I mean, but there's so many other places
Yeah.
that people
Yeah.
get paid for it through that too. And how do you work in five, 4 or 5 people for a band, on top of that,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
But no, because even like my first foray into music was in a band setting. Like I would love that. I
Mhm.
think that energy that you get, also the camaraderie, just it's more fun too when you're able to travel with people. It's just like in my mind, that's something that will happen a little later once there's a bit more of a financial like
Mhm.
bed that I could
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
work
yeah,
with. But I would love to. No, I'm literally thinking like I would love to do, yeah, that YouTube thing I was talking about. This is interesting now that I've said it here. I feel like I really got to hold myself to it. But I
gotta
want
do
to
it.
do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I would love, 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 love to have like a band. Right now I'm rocking like the Ed Sheeran loop pedal kind of vibe, which is a
Yeah.
ton of fun. But I'd love to have a set where like that's just a piece of the set, and then I have like a band for the rest. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
You've mentioned it twice. You just got added to Coachella, right?
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just
Oh
announced the set
wow.
times, and he was just added. So yeah,
Sheesh. I might have to
there you
make
go.
it out there. I have cousins who live in Indio.
Yeah, yeah, you got a place to
Uh,
stay. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That'll
yeah,
be awesome to see him there.
yeah. I've never done a Coachella myself. I don't know. It seems like
Me
a little
neither.
much, but
It's a commitment. You got to be down,
yeah,
spend some money, and listen to a lot of music.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done 3 day festivals, and already by the end, it's
yeah.
you're just spent, and I don't know,
The,
especially
I mean,
by
they
the
got
point
the
now.
other ones too. Have you done like I don't know if you're a country fan, but like Stagecoach or anything like that?
No,
Yeah,
not really country fan. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm kind of
I'm
the
not making it
same.
down to LA for a 3 day or a
That's
multi-day festival.
that's not a priority.
There's a couple up north, So like I used to live in Napa, and there was one called Bottle Rock,
Okay.
uh, and I covered that a number of years, and that was just that worked because I could literally bike there, and so and they valet my bike, and then go and then
Valet your
bike
bike
home.
is crazy. I love that.
Exactly. There's a bike valet and everything. So, and I was like, yep, doing that, not doing parking or anything, any of that, So, uh,
Crazy.
but now I'm outside of Napa, and that's not even as easy. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
it's it's all about balancing and finding,
Very
But
true. You were so
I find
right.
myself less inspired in my 40s too. To
Hey, I don't,
getting
it's not even less inspired. I think you
like,
just know what you want to do.
mm,
You're just more comfortable being like, hey, I don't want to do that. Thank you.
exactly, exactly. Time's limited, So
Time is limited. You got kids too. Yeah, it's
I
like
do,
you
I
gotta
do.
you
They
gotta choose your battles.
keep me busy. So yeah, it's a lot. So yeah. Well, your newest song is Hurricane.
It is.
And so I imagine this is going to be on the album that you're working on,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
when that comes together. So tell
Yeah.
me how Hurricane came to get together. What I thought was interesting about it, because you, as you were promoting it on your socials and everything, it's about this like 2 month relationship that you had, but
Mm.
which seems very short in the scheme of things. But yeah, but the song is deep, and it has layers, and it feels, like you're
Sure.
in it, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
tell me for you, like,
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, it was. It was a very brief relationship, where we just like we had fundamental differences in beliefs, but we got along really well. And it was tough, man. Like to be completely honest, it was just kind of this impasse where we realized like, man, like I sincerely wish you the best, and like you're amazing, but it's just like it's just not going to work in the long term. And
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of like the depth and the like the sadness of the song comes in, because it's just like, maybe in another life, maybe in it like this could have worked out or something. Like all the pieces were there except for a few. Um, and yeah, this person did mean a lot to me. And it was, I think, like there's a line in the bridge where it says like, if I ever see her again, I would tell her that it could never mean nothing to me. Like it never meant nothing. It always meant something. It could never mean
Mhm.
nothing to me. Because it was like it was so short, but it was like this idea of like I don't want you to think like this didn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
But I think every once in a while you meet people. Life is hectic. We were just talking about you got to choose your battles if you want to go to a festival in Napa, or spend a weekend with your family, whatever it is. Like there's always stuff going on. You really got to prioritize what you are doing, because life is busy. And to me, I was equating that it feels like life is just like a hurricane. It's just one storm after another. Um, and you find little pockets of peace though that feel like the eye of a hurricane. And this relationship for me was that little pocket of peace. And it was a really beautiful thing. And like I wish her all the best, and like I think we're on really good terms, which is great. I'm very grateful for. But it's just this idea of like, yeah, you can't I don't know. It's like it wasn't meant to be, but in the same way, what we did get from that relationship was meant to be, and that's really beautiful. So it's just kind of like reflecting back on that moment, um, with I guess gratitude and sadness,
Mhm.
um, but also open hands. Like, hey, wish you all the best.
Yeah.
I'll remember
And
this fondly, kind of thing. And
yeah.
yeah, man, it's crazy. Definitely came from a very real place. It's gonna be the first song on the album, so it's the first single from the album, and I'm planning on making it track number one on the album as well, aiming for about 10 songs. And sonically, it was a lot of fun too, because it was something that I got to take my time on getting the production right, and my friend Justin Cho helped me bring the production all the way to 100%. And I've been playing it on tour as well, and it's just like it's the first song that I play on my set, and it's just a great like way for me to launch into like, all right, we're here at this venue, and we're about to share like 30 minutes of intentional time of music together, and like let's just settle into this moment. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And and did she tell you you had to write the song?
So I had told her that I feel like this would be a good song. And she was like, okay, like I'll keep my eye out for it, kind of thing. So yeah, I was like, we had discussed writing the song, uh, yeah, previously.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm told also you're open to playing an acoustic song for
I
the
am,
program.
but my guitar is
Yeah.
not here. I did not plan that well. I don't have access to the
Okay.
guitar. I was actually really looking forward to playing it, but it's in the car that we are touring in, and that car is not where I am right now. So I planned that poorly. I am
That's
so sorry.
that's fair. Well, how about if you record yourself doing it
Totally.
sometime, and I can give you my info after, and you can send it to me. So,
Perfect. That's a great plan. I'm down.
okay, then we'll put it in right here.
Cool. Sounds good.
Can we stay inside a little while longer? I'm not ready to face the rain. Life's just one storm after another. You're so quiet. Your soul's a haven for mine. When you held me, safe in between every storm. And you listen, the space in your skin kept me warm. This love grows thin. wind keeps blowing us back to the real world. Oh, and darling, we're running on borrowed time. Oh no, and I hear my heartbeat in such loud silence. And though you're not mine, oh, I wish you were. I remember when you held me, safe in between every storm. Oh no, and you listen. The space in your skin kept me warm. This love grows and goes and don't make a sound. Now I see the eye of a hurricane, it's deep brown. Oh no, when I meet God, I will ask him 2 questions. Why the rain? Why not her? If I ever see her again, I'll tell her, hey, that it always meant something. It could never mean nothing to me when you held me, safe in between every storm. Yeah. And you listen. The space in your skin kept me warm. This love grows and goes and don't make a sound. I see the eye of a hurricane, it's deep brown.
Okay, so anything else you can tell me about the album? Is it going to be like acoustic?
Yeah, so it's yeah, well, sorry, finish your thought. I can try and fill it in as much as I can based on what you're asking.
Yeah. I'm just asking for an overview. I mean, it sounds like you have a framework of what the album is already. Like, what do you have a timeline of when you want to release it? Like,
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're playing a couple of songs on it on your shows as well.
Yeah, I've been playing Hurricane, and then I'm teasing a new one that's very fun. It's called Dressed Up, and it's a loop pedal. At least when I play it live, it's like more loop pedal based and a lot of like fun crowd interaction. So that's been a ton of fun playing that one live. And yeah, those are the only ones that I'm teasing on tour. But I'm chasing a lot of the same sonic palette as Hurricane, but then also a bit more of an indie flavor. I've been very into Dominic Fike lately. I've been trying to channel some of that energy. I've been explaining this album like Ed Sheeran is like the guy for me as far as like Plus and Multiply. His first 2 albums like made just like an indelible mark on my music career for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like I always carry that with me when I'm making music, but then I'm also trying to lean into just having some fun with the production, doing some more experimental stuff and some just fun, a little more indie flavors, kind of similar to Dominic Fike. So yeah, I'm very excited for it. We'll see. I'm so grateful for it, but it was not in the plans for my year. So
Yeah.
it's throwing off my
just kinda
timeline a
good.
bit. Yeah, I had about a month in advance. Which, hey, no complaints, but Abe had reached out to me. He's like, hey, do you want to come on tour as a tour manager? And I was like, I haven't really done that before. And then he's like, okay, well, just think about it. And then a few days later, he's like, hey, actually, would you want to drum for me? And I was like, yeah, sure, I could do that. Like, that sounds more fun. He's like, okay, would you also want to open? And I was like, yeah, sure. So,
Yes.
it was definitely kind of like just kind of happening in real time. All these choices were being, but with that being said, aiming for July.
Yeah.
Please don't hold me to it. I'm
It's
gonna.
fair. It's fair. It's loose. It's loose.
Yeah, aiming for July, but I'm very excited. The whole album's about 70% done, but finishing that last 30% is always difficult because it's way easier to like create the song it's
Yeah.
harder to finish the song, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you
Um,
never really want to say it's done, sort of
yeah, what
thing.
do they say? Art is never finished, it's just
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so gonna try to wrap up the last like 30% of it on the road, and then once we get back from tour. But I'm also, after this tour, I get to go back on the road with Kevin for 3 more dates, Kevin Chung. So busy season, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
So basically, as soon as I can get the album like wrapped up and uploaded and ready to go, we're gonna launch right into it. But super excited
Yeah.
for it.
I'm
Yeah,
excited to check it out. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm sure it'll be great. And Bottom of the Hill is a good place also. I've
Okay, you've been
gone to
there.
shows. Oh, many times. Yeah, I mean, 20 plus years. Like, yeah, I mean, since going to concerts, I've been to many shows there, and
Sure.
it's this cool place. Holds about 150 people, and then there's I mean, there's this glass window right behind the stage, and you can kind of see back in this backstage area, and then kind of you can hang out back there, and
Very
you
cool.
know, and everything, and it's a.
I'm
I
excited.
think there may or may not be a pool table there. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Ooh,
It's been a little bit,
ooh, I have to check it out.
but it's fun. So
I'm looking
yeah,
forward to it.
yeah. Well, Zach, I wish you luck on the rest of the tour, on the album coming out soon, and
Appreciate
it's
it.
exciting diving deep into your music and hearing your stories about how you came to where we are now. Also,
Yeah, well, I appreciate it so much, Steve. It's been great getting to know you a little bit, and yeah, I appreciate you asking all these questions and appreciate this platform. So.
that was my interview with Zach Paradis here on Concert Pipeline, and that takes us to the final segment on the program, the music news. Stories to wind us out here on the program today. Pretty good big news week. All in. First story I'm going to talk about is about Black Sabbath. They're of course doing their final show ever with Ozzy Osbourne, who just wants that one last show that he's doing in England coming up this summer. His wife Sharon Osbourne says she's open to a Black Sabbath ABBA style hologram show, and she's talked about that a bit. So the most iconic lineup is getting back together, including Ozzy, guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward, who's the one where they kind of had a falling out with, and Bill is coming back for this show, and they're going to play together for the first time in 2 decades. There's a stacked lineup of other major acts that are performing: Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Alice in Chains, Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan, Slash, and Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses, and Korn. Tom Morello is going to perform and serve as the show's musical director. I also read that the big buff guy for Jason Momoa, that he's going to be hosting the event, and he's pretty excited about that. And so there's a lot of stuff in the works for it. But Sharon says technology keeps moving on and on. You can do incredible things now. So what you could do 5 years ago will be even better now. You never know what the opportunities are. And Sharon, regarding Bill Ward, said Bill has always been fantastic with Ozzy. I always say they've got that invisible connection between the 4 of them, and he's going to be there, which is amazing. He said, "I'm not going to bullshit you and say we're the best of friends. We're not. We're such different people. But I respect Bill so much, and I'm so happy that he has agreed to come for the band and for the fans." Ozzy has recently said he's back in the gym and preparing. He's going to do the best he can at these shows because it's going to be a lot for him with his Parkinson's. Zach Wilde has teased that that Ozzy may perform from a throne that flies over the stadium at the concert. When he can't move, the seat's going to move for him. So that's pretty cool. And he said he's trying to get back on his feet. When you get up in the morning, you just jump out of bed. I have to balance myself, but I'm not dead. I'm still actively doing things, although he said he can't walk as a result of Parkinson's. Okay. So that's the Ozzy story. The 2025 MTV Video Music Awards is going to air on CBS for the first time. Simulcast on MTV. I don't know that people even have MTV anymore, so I think that's it's pretty much moving to CBS after the ratings improved this past year over the previous year. It's a 3-hour broadcast, and 1 hour live pre-show. So 4 hours of this when there's not really videos, music videos in the same sense that there were before. People aren't seeing them in the same way that they did back in the 90s and early 2000s with MTV. It's just completely different, but it's going to be moving to CBS as well, so that's great. The Hives are plotting a world tour to accompany their new album. The Hives Forever Forever. The Hives, I think, is the name of the album. And they got a new record full of energy, joy, anger, and life that you'll be questioning reality as you've known it. I've never seen the Hives live, but I dove deep into this when I heard this, and I'm like, where are they coming? Yeah, they're going to come to the Bay Area. They're playing the Warfield in San Francisco, and they're going to play Ace of Spades in Sacramento. And I want to see that in 5. So I mean, I feel like they put on a good show, and I dig some of their music. I want to check out the new album, of course, but I might make my way out to that show if I can get some tickets. So we will see. But the record will be released on August 29th. So there's still a lot of time until it comes out, and they're looking forward to it. Okay. David Bowie's daughter, Lexi Jones, quietly released a debut album, Zandri. It comes after weeks of teasers on Instagram. And the LP was released on Wednesday, April 2nd. I listened to a little bit of it. It's kind of poppy, but also calm in different ways. Got a little rock feel. And Jones has been sharing snippets of various tracks on her Instagram account. But the full album is out now. It's 12 songs, 47 minutes long, and pop, electronic, indie rock. And Jones is 24 years old. And she created the artwork as well, most likely because she's a visual artist. And Zandri comes from the Greek name meaning defender of mankind. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I've reached out, so maybe we'll be able to get an interview with her. I don't know yet. We'll have to find out. Coachella is right around the corner, and Ed Sheeran and Weezer are just joined the lineup as stage times were revealed. So those are last-minute ads. And the new additions join the likes of Lady Gaga, Green Day, Post Malone, and Travis Scott, who are playing the festival this year between April 11th to 13th and April 25th to 27th. Let's see. Yeah, so they have been announced. That's pretty exciting. There's some big name ads. I was talking to a friend about the lineup recently, and I'm like, many of these bands, not only do I not know, they don't sound like real words. I don't know. I'm too old. I'm missing out. I've never been to a Coachella. Some of the bands I'm sure I'd enjoy seeing, and maybe I'd get into some new music, but it's just too much for me. All right. Arcade Fire shared a video for a new song, Cars and Telephones. They did this. They actually dropped an app this past Friday that they teased. It's called Trust, is the name of the app. And this song was 25 years in the making, and it was reworked from a 2001 demo that predicated the inception of the band. So this speculation became back in March when they started making some drastic changes to their social media pages. I think they delete all their posts on Instagram, uploaded new profile picture, bio, and website link. And so this is all leading to them now, kind of starting to tease some new stuff and drop some new content. And then you'll probably need that Trust album to be able to hear some of the new music that is coming. There was an announcement called In the Circle of Trust, their members fan club app, where they kind of drop some of this. So you can check that out if you are interested. All right. That is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. We have another show next week where we're going to have Paul Rappaport. This is the one I've been holding on for almost 2 months now, maybe, as he has a new book called Gliders Over Hollywood, Airships, Airplanes, and the Art of Rock Promotion. It comes out the 15th. So that is right around the corner. And that was a really fun chat. So look forward to that. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, I'm Steve Jones. We'll catch you next time.